The Witcher 3 is pretty much confirmed already to be getting a DLC in the exact way that I predicted almost. And the best part about this is the fact that we already know what this DLC is going to be about. Well, at least I think I know what this DLC is going to be about. And honestly, it's not really too hard to figure it out. You probably already have figured it out, or you have not really thought about it too much. But when I explain this, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, obviously, this is so easy to figure out. So, Gerald of Rivia, the storyline of his is completely over. Blood and wine, all of that jazz happened, and it's finished. And The Witcher 3 now can only serve one purpose, and that is to bridge Ciri becoming the official Witcher on the Witcher 4 game. And that's what the DLC is obviously going to be about. We're going to see probably her last interactions with Gerald, what happens, the School of the Lynx, and why she thought that drinking shitty potions to boost your damage by 1 was a better choice than being a space elf Jesus creature thing that's literally canonically the strongest thing in the universe. Maybe she really just wanted to be the Avatar, master of all 4 elements. Gerald was a knockoff Jubilee from the X-Men, but she's seriously pretty much the fucking Avatar. She does everything. But in any case, we're gonna find it out, and it's gonna be pretty funny. Because this is gonna make or break The Witcher 4. If this DLC is not the peak of the crop, not only will this ruin The Witcher 4's chance at success, and keep in mind, when I say chance at success, I'm kind of air quoting it, because The Witcher 4, no matter what the leaks are, no matter how bad the things are, is gonna be financially successful. It's gonna achieve those milestones. It's gonna sell 10 million copies in the first month, no matter how bad the everything around it is. It's just because The Witcher is just such a powerful and beloved IP in general. But if this last DLC is bad, then not only will this ruin the reputation of Witcher 4, it's also going to completely stain the reputation of Witcher 3. And I am for one extremely interested to see how this works out, how this plays out, because I mean, it's kind of hard to finish off stronger than The Witcher 3 did, right? It's pretty much impossible. And now they need to fill in those shoes. That's probably the first thing. With a character a lot of people are not really sold about still playing as the main thing, and now it's going to be a convoluted mess. And not to mention the fact that people have lost faith in CDPR so goddamn hard. Okay? CDPR Red woke, CDPR Red incompetent, CDPR CEO lies about it. There's so many things. And the worst part is all of the things bad about CDPR are literally just pointing in one direction, and that is that there's not a lot of skilled individuals left at CDPR in general. And that their way of thinking is probably corrupt. They're opening offices in Canada, like the USA of all unholy shitholes. And many, got you to comment, USA friendos. Oh yeah, feed that algorithm. Comment, how dare you speak bad of America? I got you. Good stuff. Anyway, things like that. And CDPR literally getting a woke award. Again, the probably worst part is that all of these things, they're trying to pretend that none of these things have happened. The CEO is out there literally lying in interviews saying, oh no, the people who made the games that you love are still all here. Which is a provable lie. I don't know how many times I'm going to say this, but none of this looks good. All of this is kind of... I mean, listen. You can't exactly have like 4 or 5 other major studios opening, all from remnants of CDPR who say, oh, we left CDPR because we didn't agree with the direction it was going into, and say, oh no, CDPR, the old CDPR is still there and kicking. Bro, then how are these studios opening who are ex-CDPR employees? What? Can you explain how that's possible if the old CDPR is still up and running and thumbs upping? I don't know. Anyway, like the video.
The Witcher 3 is often hailed as one of the greatest video games ever made, and it's the game that really puts CDPR on the map in a big way.
True.
It's currently my favorite video game ever made, and if you take The Witcher 3 plus...
Bro, I remember being 10 years old, I was at my friend's house, and he was like, bro, look at this game, it's The Witcher, it has prostitutes, check this out, you give her flowers and you stuff.
The 2 expansions, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine, that is peak fiction. There's nothing better than The Witcher 3 plus all of its expansions. So the prospect of getting new DLC for The Witcher 3 is exciting. It's almost like trying to add new changes to the Mona Lisa, or it's like adding a new season to Attack on Titan. Like, there's really not going to be much better than they can do. It's already so peak that, like, what's the point? That's the main...
I checked out Attack on Titan so hard.
Topic of discussion in this video. Obviously, we're going to cover the news briefly for those of you that may have missed out. So yeah, check the video chapters for easy viewing, and let's get started. So let's first talk about the source of the leak. This is originating from the Rock Boris podcast, where the well-known Polish commentator in the gaming industry revealed that a new story DLC for The Witcher 3 is being developed, but this time it's not going to be in-house by CDPR, it's being developed by Fool's Theory, which is a studio comprised of former Witcher 3 developers. So like, it's technically not...
Yeah, and also, again, that itself kind of is also a red flag. So, you're gonna make the Witcher game, but you're gonna give it to a studio that's not, that's ex-Witcher writers. Like, okay, but okay. So, if hearing this, it's just like, okay, so if this succeeds, that means that all of the good writers from CDPR are now dead, but CDPR is the ones making The Witcher 4, so it's bad. Everything around the situation is just questionable and bad.
Not CDPR, but it's people that developed The Witcher 3, so the hype is real regardless. Now, the podcast host claims that the information has been corroborated by multiple independent sources. Now, I've actually covered the Rock Boris podcast multiple times. They have a history of, accurately leaking things in terms of CDPR projects, including information about Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher 4. Now, they have stated that The Witcher 3 is receiving new DLC and it's targeted for a 2026 release date, and that's really all the information they have. Like, they know that Fool's Theory is developing it, and they know that it's releasing sometime in 2026. The podcast outlined that CDPR's roadmap looks like this. They're going to release console mod support for The Witcher 3 first. After they get that update out, they're going to release this DLC, and then finally The Witcher 4. And after that, we're going to get The Witcher 1 remake. So now the question is why release new DLC for The Witcher 3 10 years later? I can't stress this enough. The stakes are so extremely high for them if these rumors are true that we're getting new DLC. As I said in the intro, like, Witcher 3's base content is universally praised, and both of the expansions are seen as some of the best in gaming history. Witcher 3 is an all-around legendary game, so adding anything to it at this point is really difficult, because if this new DLC isn't up...
Yeah, this is what I said. I mean, if they fail with this update, they're not only putting The Witcher 4 in dire waters, but they're kind of effectively fucking over The Witcher 3 legacy.
To the same standards as what's already in the game, it's going to stand out just in all of the wrong ways.
Listen, the term botchling is going to have a new meaning if this fails.
People expect a lot from any new gaming content that comes out under the Witcher umbrella, but the fact that this DLC will be connected to one of the most acclaimed games ever released just means that the expectations are going to be even higher. Now, I do think it's possible for Fool's Theory to pull it off and make something that fits right in with the rest of the Witcher 3 content in terms of tone and quality, but it's a really difficult task that I hope they're up for. Now, before you jump the gun too much, when I say DLC, I mean DLC. It's not an expansion releasing in 2026 that they're alleging, it's DLC. So for example, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt New Game Plus.
So DLC and expansion are pretty synonymous at this point, but the reality is, DLC is supposed to be smaller. It's Think Starfield, roughly 13 minutes of gameplay for $20. But in this case, it's probably going to be slightly better than that, but it's less than an expansion. Expansion is supposed to be like, I don't know, like 10 hours of content and then a giant new storyline. Here it's going to be like, Ciri's just going to be like, I want to learn space elf powers because I want to drink potions. Oh, look, I found a random school in the mountains. Now I'm going to call it the Link School, and I'm a female witcher. Praise me. It's, oh, God. Oh, God. I think, needless to say, I don't think this is gonna succeed.
Plus is technically DLC for them, but something like The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine is an expansion. It's all about the scope and scale. Like usually whenever they say expansion, it's a big expansion added to the game, and the DLC is usually a lot smaller. However, still elite in quality, but it typically is much smaller. So I've been racking my brain around like, why do The Witcher 3 DLC in 2026? Like, what is the reason? Well, with The Witcher 4 having Ciri as the main character, she's the lead of the new game, and with Fool's Theory, you know, kind of in limbo, currently working on the Witcher 1 remake, but they're really not working on it too much. I believe CDPR temporarily assigned a small team from Fool's Theory to actually help assist CDPR with The Witcher 4 due to the shared assets and technology that they're using. Obviously, the Witcher 1 remake will be done using Unreal Engine 5, so it makes sense for them to help out with the Witcher 4's development so that whenever it comes to like sharing assets and stuff and utilizing the same engine that they're working on, it makes sense that after, you know, The Witcher 4 is done, they can kick things into high gear almost immediately. But yeah, so with Ciri being the lead for The Witcher 4, I can see it making sense.
God, all of this is so stupidly cringe. They tried to make her intimidating here, but she like seems. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I just want to slap her. That's it. I just want to slap the shit out of her.
The Witcher 3 could bridge the gap to The Witcher.
I mean, she like CDPR did such a great job making me want to turn on my phone camera because she's probably gonna lie about stuff that happened.
That The Witcher 3 could bridge the gap to The Witcher 4 with this new DLC, providing extra context and almost serving as a prologue for The Witcher 4. But again, this is kind of where things get a bit dicey. If they release a Witcher 3 DLC and let's, for instance, it's Ciri as the lead rather than Geralt, it could be kind of disastrous, and it's for this simple reason. So Ciri in The Witcher 3 was voiced by Joe Wyatt, but for The Witcher 4 they decided to go in a completely new direction with a new actress named Kira Berkeley. Now, the reasoning for the change is obviously they wanted someone that can do motion capture. Obviously, like The Witcher 4 will be using performance capture for the most part. And with Joe Wyatt in her 50s, it makes sense for them to change up who is the lead as Ciri. So why is this cause for concern? Well, first and foremost, if we're getting new DLC for The Witcher 3, who is going to be the one voicing Ciri if they are doing a prologue to The Witcher 4 or like bridging the gap between the two games? Will they decide to go with Joe Wyatt again, or will they go with, you know, Kira Berkeley? In my opinion, it would be really
They're gonna go with the new one.
weird if they didn't have Joe Wyatt back as Ciri in this DLC. Like if they just replaced her with, you know, Kira in the game, like going from hearing Ciri's voice in the main game and then playing the DLC and it being a
No, it's gonna be the new one. Because they want people to get accustomed to the new city as much as possible.
new voice, it would be pretty immersion breaking and almost like stick out like a sore thumb, like I said. Now I'm sure Kira is able to voice match Ciri as well as possible, but at the end of the day, like Kira has a different tone than Ciri did in The Witcher 3. Now let's say they decide not to have a story where it bridges the gap between The Witcher 3 and The Witcher 4. What else are they gonna do? Like Geralt is kind of like
No, I mean, they need to. Just from the trailer, you know that people are questioning stuff. Wait, the School of the Lynx? So did she make it? Is there just a magical fucking school of inept women out there being Witchers? It's like, oh, what is going on here? Okay, that's just listen. Just the switch alone from The Witcher 3 to The Witcher 4 is so drastic and dramatic and has so much questions attached to it that this game needs to be like, I don't know, 100 hours long, and 50 of those hours that need to be dedicated just to summarizing the shit that happened with Ciri. So this DLC has to 100% be about Ciri becoming the Witcher. There's no other way. And if it's not, then that by default fails, because it's like, okay, so Gerald's story is over. He literally gives his sword over to Ciri. Probably his other sword also, because why not? I mean, it's farewell, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, and then he just gets another expansion. That seems stupid.
tired right now after the end of Blood and Wine. Like he's kind of just chilling. Will there be continued story for Geralt? And if that's the case, like that almost, you know, removes the excuse of them having Ciri as the lead of the next game. Like if
Also, yes, obviously this. Like, okay, so you're telling me his story ended, but he's still doing things, and then he can be the Witcher 4.
Gerald's just going to come out of retirement again, then they could have easily just used him for The Witcher 4. Obviously, like, that brings up another conversation. But yeah, I almost think like they have to leave Gerald where he's at with The Witcher 3. So this new DLC, it pretty much has to be Ciri as the lead. Now, it could be that they do DLC where it's like before the events of Blood and Wine. Then I'd be cool with that, but you know, it's really hard saying what they plan on doing. Obviously, it's going to be risky regardless, but I think they could pull it off. I trust Fool's Theory. Like, I've got no reason not to trust them, especially considering they're made up of ex-Witcher 3 developers. Now, it is worth mentioning that games take a lot of time to make and they are very expensive, and for a company like CDPR that doesn't have its live service game that is printing money, they have to find revenue some way, somehow. And releasing new DLC for The Witcher,
Well, I would argue that having a live service game with like 5 players online, or selling, uh, 60 million copies, 30 million copies, pick one. It doesn't matter. It's a lot of copies. I think that's better.
Witcher 3 that has sold over 60 million copies
Yeah,
as of May of this year, cementing it as one of the best-selling video games in history. So with an install base of 60 million people, releasing new DLC is a low-risk and high-reward opportunity to target existing players like let's say they sell a DLC.
That's true, but again, this is all of the things that are gonna matter for The Witcher 4, so this is big.
That's like $20 or whatever, even $10, and times that by the million of existing users and the potential of new users who will buy the game specifically for new DLC, it could be pretty lucrative, especially in a studio that doesn't churn out new games that often. CDPR
She literally gave up the ability to fucking teleport to drink a shitty potion.
is also seeing massive success with
that
releasing
pisses me off
Cyberpunk
so much.
2077 on the Nintendo Switch 2, so I could easily see it being lucrative to them develop a Nintendo Switch 2 version of The Witcher 3, make it the Ultimate Edition, and then release that new DLC as well for existing Nintendo Switch users. Now, if you guys remember, in multiple earnings reports, CDPR has basically said that they plan to hit their revenue goals by releasing new content and giving more reasons for people to buy their existing games. So releasing a DLC does make sense whenever it comes to like just business wise. Obviously, CDPR is publicly traded. They have investors that they have to turn to, so they can't just go completely silent over the next like 2 years or whatever, or 3 years until The Witcher 4 release.
Yeah, again, this was literally my take if you missed it. They need to release a Cyberpunk DLC and a Witcher DLC, because they don't want to have 2 years in a row where they're releasing The Witcher and or Cyberpunk in a row, because that's kind of boring. Okay, people want variety, and I mean they have variety options. It's pretty simple. So, now since whichever game is finished first, which should be, I forgot even which one it should be, but whatever. It's years apart, so they need something in the middle. And I mean, the Witcher 3 DLC and Cyberpunk 2077 DLC is exactly what they need from a business point. In any case, that was Ovis Nemo, 10 out of 10. Have a nice day. Bye.